Are you familiar with the term supercommuting?
Yes, yes, yes.
Can you?
There's been. Mm-hmm.
No, go ahead.
Well, the part, this touches upon a big challenge in urban areas around transportation and public transportation. And so there's been, I don't know the latest technology, but there's been, a lot of focus on how to deal with some of the problems that are facing cities by improving transportation that can take people, farther distances, less costs, and in more efficient ways. Public transportation is something that in many cities, including here in Boston, has been a big challenge, has been a big problem. People can't, even within the city, people can't really get around in the most efficient way, and it's getting costlier and costlier. And unless cities figure out how to move people from let's say, in this area, Framingham, which I think is maybe 25 miles to the west of Boston, or Lawrence, which is maybe another 25 miles to the north of Boston. I mean, transportation should be, the state of technology of transportation should be such where people can make those long distances, again, in clean, efficient, and not very costly ways. So that's sort of approach as a way to deal with the housing issue, with the fact that housing, affordable housing, is becoming harder and harder to achieve in a lot of cities.
Can you briefly explain how the stress of being gentrified out of a community and having to super commute 2 hours or 3 hours per day getting to your job, how can that affect your mental state and your economic outlook?
Right. Well, in fact, a number of people, and after our talk, I could give you the name of a scholar in the area who is actually looking at the public health consequences of gentrification, but also these long commute times. If you're raising a family, having to commute 2 hours to get to a job and to get back home each way, that becomes a family issue. We're not supporting families when that has to happen. When you look at the impact on schools, it means that parent cannot really focus on holding local schools accountable in a full way, because she or he, is spending a lot of time, transporting to a job and back and forth. So in addition to public health, the stress, there's probably an impact on public schools and how parents can hold public schools accountable for the education of their children. The cost, again, these are not minimal costs. These are major costs that families, households have to use to take away from income that could be used for savings, that could be used for a number of other things that might be more economically productive.
I definitely agree with that. Super commuting definitely could be a stress way to live, considering you having a family and trying to save up for retirement and just trying to survive. So
and how do you deal with that situation where, okay, my child got ill in school, and my child, I have a second grader or a third grader or a kindergartner or a middle school kid, and so how do I get to that school so I can take care of my child when I'm 2 hours away, and I don't drive. I have to depend on transportation, public transportation. But even if I have a car and drive, that's still, that has a lot of stress. That has a lot of stress to families.